Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. So welcome to the show, ladies. I'm so happy to have two women on the show today. Normally it's a one-on-one interview, but you two are partners who have created this amazing podcast. And I just want to welcome you both to the show. Thank you for coming on today.
Hi there.
Hi, Crystal. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So I'm here with Andi and Aoibheann. Andi is from the States, but lives in France, and Aoibheann is in Ireland. And these two ladies have created a fascinating podcast that I'm going to let them talk a little bit more about. I'm already obsessed with the whole idea. They've already topped charts around the world, in America, in France, in the UK. So talk a little bit about what you ladies created.
Well, we met in an artist residency in Ireland, in the Republic, called Tyrone Guthrie. And just randomly met in 2019, I think it was. And Andi was there in her capacity as an artist. I was there in my capacity as a writer. And we really hit it off. So we stayed in touch a little bit. And we decided to meet there again in the following year, which we did. And we just met for the weekend, and we really wanted to collaborate. We weren't sure what we wanted to do. And then all the other artists kept asking us, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I think on the second day, we came up with this. We knew we wanted to do something comedy, and we must be psychic because we decided to do something audio because we knew we'd be working long distance, me from Galway and Andi from Paris. Yeah. So I'll pass her what happened next.
Right. So we had met at a dinner table, and we had a lot of laughs, and we were making other people laugh. At least we think we were. We have been giving
ourselves.
Yeah, it didn't really matter whether the others were joining. We were having a ball, and so we decided to collaborate on something, and that was the problem. Is what I was there as a printmaker. And Aoibheann was there as a short story writer, although you do poems too. And I had notions of writing. And so we got there, and the other artists. What are you doing? What are you? Famous question. What are you working on?
Yeah.
We didn't even know what format we wanted to do at first. And we both listened to a lot of podcasts and decided, hey, we both like podcasts. Let's do that because, we live so far away from each other. So, and then COVID happened, and the cast was die. We decided to do that. And we were reading about how actors were out of work. They couldn't work in the theater anymore because all the theaters were closed and so on and so forth. So we decided to do some fundraising, which is something I had never done. You'd never had to?
Well, I'd worked for charities, so I kind of knew how it worked.
Right.
But it was different because we weren't fundraising for a charity. We were fundraising for ourselves, really, but we didn't actually profit from it as such. We wanted to pay the actors. We just didn't want to be those people who ask artists to do things for free because I think it just annoys everybody.
Right. We didn't want to say, oh, we'll do this, and then if it's a big hit, we'll pay you. We really feel like artists need to be paid. I think that's one thing that's been important to us both from the beginning, is that everyone gets their dues and the respect, for creating stuff. So we even found some great actors based in Galway. We had hopes that we'd be able to get into a recording studio, but the recording studios ended up being closed by the time all the we wrote the scripts and the actors were ready to go. We recorded from our homes and used a sound engineer.
Wow, very professional.
Yeah. It was a big project, and we got it out the door.
Yeah, we did.
Considering you didn't even know what you were doing, you're like, let's just do this. You know, it was your first podcast. It was your first time kind of directing people like that, I'm assuming.
That was the motivation, I think, at least for me. It was like, we have, this has to be good. We, these people have given us money to make something good, and we want the actors to sound good. And, this is serious. This is the big league.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we really got into the world. The podcast is called Retreat Comedy, and it's set in an artist retreat. And, there's a villain who's trying to close the artist retreat, and all the artists have to get together to fight back. And we have artists there from all over the world who represent different things and have huge personalities. But what was great about the actors was that because it's audio, they could each play 2 or 3 parts.
Yeah.
And we found some fantastic actors, and we ended up acting in it ourselves. Now, both of us have some experience of acting, but we hadn't intended to act. And then it just kind of happened because of COVID, people dropped out. Yeah. And when we were writing the scripts in advance, we often voiced out all the characters, and I think
I enjoy that so much. We become the characters. We just, I think if somebody just heard the one side conversation, that would be kind of crazy, because we'll switch back and forth into a man's voice, and then then a French, like I was voicing the French lady often, and you were going and doing all the different accents all around Ireland, where there's so many different accents just in Ireland, itself. And
so you got to experiment with voice acting too. I mean, these are all new territories for you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then the day came where we had to hand the scripts over to the actors, and they brought a lot. They really brought them to life. Yeah.
So they, they're proper artists, and they really brought their own side to us. That was amazing, and just magical to see. And we also did 2 live shows. Yeah. In between kind of lockdowns, we managed to do 2 live outdoor shows with the actors. Oh, nice. And they were recorded. They're available on YouTube as well. And that was such fun. Yeah. And we would hope to do that again. And it was a great, the live shows were done before the kind of the whole podcast came out. Yeah. So we were able to sort of try out things.
Yeah, it was kind of like audience testing. In Ireland, they have something called Culture Night, and it reminds me a lot of Fête de la Musique in Paris, where all the musicians come out into the streets, and in Culture Night, I guess there's everything. There's music and theater and just events everywhere, and it's a great night. It's in fall every year.
So when you were writing this whole story, was it based on things you experienced yourself as artists in residencies, or was it, completely fictional? Or, how did you come up with the story? Did you sit there together and write it together out loud, or you combined ideas?
It kind of came about like a joke. A lot of the way we wrote it was WhatsApp. We used to send each other WhatsApp messages in the characters, and the characters sort of came alive.
Right. Voice messages, right?
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think, like any writer will tell you, that there's nobody, and there's never a character who's directly based on a person. It's more like a pastiche. Yes. And then obviously you have story beats. So people, there has to be a villain, and there has to be a hero, and there has to be someone who goes on a journey and finds a different side of themselves. Yeah. So, I think the characters as such are archetypes,
because they're characters that we both know too, which I thought was interesting. We come from 2 different places, 2 different experiences, and maybe you too, you know that person who just sucks all the energy out of a room.
Yes. Or the person who disagrees with everything that everyone says.
I have a lot of those people in my life. My dad is one of them. Sorry, Dad.
So there's one character who won't have anything bad said about North Korea, for instance. because,
just to be contrary.
And then there's another character who, and I think, Galway, Crystal, it's full of new age people.
Yes.
And so we have new age characters.
We love people like that.
They're so fun. They're my favorite.
Yeah. To assign some kind of strange meaning to everything. However, I do think we also, all the characters are exaggerated versions of ourselves.
Yes.
Yes. So it's your multiple personalities.
Yeah. So, I live in Galway for a reason. I am fairly new age. So I think, and, we have a German character as well. But the characters did take up a life of their own and started talking to us at night.
Yes, yeah. They even changed that. We had this one character that we couldn't quite get right, but we knew this kind of person existed, someone a little nerdy, someone kind of just not, who doesn't listen, and it just wasn't coming out right. It didn't seem, the person seemed a little too cartoony. We couldn't put our finger. And then one day I listened to the voice message from Aoibheann, and she said, Tina is not a woman. And I was like, oh. She's not a German woman. She's a Northern European man. I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah, it's just like they develop over time. It has to kind of simmer a little bit. It's like cooking, right?
Yeah,
like
and also with the dynamics of the other characters, everything, and and the dynamics of ourselves. Sometimes I had characters that I wanted to do, and Aoibheann didn't know that kind of person, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. I guess, I like to talk about the collaboration, because it's fun to collaborate with somebody else, especially if you're used to writing by yourself, or it just opens up some new doors that you might not have thought of by yourself too. That's
and the actors brought a lot to it, as I said earlier, but we did rehearsed reading with the actors and other actors, that which no one was paid for, but we just said, does anyone want to, read through our script?
Yeah.
And some of the actors just got the characters and even added a new dimension to them. Yeah. So we had this we have a groundskeeper who's a bit of a flirt, but the actor just turned him into, he's a creep.
Oh, he's so creepy. Every time we heard his voice, we would shudder.
Oh. They took the character and they ran with it. And it's so nice how the actors can add their own little spin. And like you said, just your own ideas that are coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, and how they're all crossing in this show that you created. And talk a little bit about how it's broadened your own horizons, enriched your own work by trying these new things. Like this is something out of your comfort zone. So how has your own work changed and evolved from creating this project?
Well, I ended up doing more acting outside of, voice acting. I had done some acting in the past, but not for a long time. I've ended up really remembering that I loved working in script format. So I'm working with a theatre company, translating one of my short stories into a play. And I think it was just remembering that writing could be fun.
Yes.
That was the big thing for me.
Yes.
Because I'm not one of these writers who goes, wow, yay, let me sit down at my desk. I'm like, oh God, I have to sit down at my desk. Oh. Yeah. And but I always found, meeting Andi online, and we still use Skype. Actually, we're probably the last two people on Earth using.
Yes. Still,
and it's just that motivation of you're showing up
right
to someone else.
Yeah. It's very powerful to do that, to open, like you said, your horizons, to invite other people into your creative world. Also, I've been really impressed how we both, I think one of the skills that we both have is to let go.
Yes.
And to know that there'll be another creative idea, because, this has never happened to us, but I can imagine somebody becoming very, adamant about, no, you've got to, got to take my idea. But I think we found a nice, healthy equilibrium to say, like, all right, I kind of like my idea, but we'll let go, or we'll come back to it, they always come back. The good ideas come back, and we just flow with it, and we found there's a lot of trust. And we started out just collaborating together very carefully, and built the trust up, and we've been able to actually go a little bit faster, I would say.
Because we know our strengths, and what tends to happen is I do a skeleton script. We kind of agree the basic story. I do a bit of skeleton. Andi plumps it, zhuzhes it up. Then I cut it back. She'll zhuzh again.
Another 8 pages.
She adds 8 pages. I take away 8 different pages. So that, and then we get together and we read, and then when you're reading, is it right? And then sometimes you have to go back and
for editing, like we're our own editors, whereas when you write by yourself, you write and then you can reread it, and you can end up rewriting a whole new book without realizing it. But and then again the actors come in and add their own sauce to it. So
I like how you can edit each other, like you can work to make both of your work better and together, because sometimes artists' egos can get in the way, and they can disagree and say, no, my way is the only way. So it's always kind of enlightening to see it work so well together, and especially in a new way, because it's kind of a new relationship. You met there at this place, and then the pandemic, which was a weird time anyway. And I mean, did this feel kind of like an escape for you guys?
Completely.
Oh yeah. And it was some joy, like that's what it was. It was like there was some joy in the kind of darkness of lockdown. Also, I think because we didn't know each other and we didn't live in the same place. Ireland is very small, and I've worked with before on comedy scripts and different things, and you'll always some personal thing will come in the way. You'll know someone who knows them, or other things will get in the way, whereas we didn't know each other really. Our families weren't linked, our friends weren't linked, so we were able to kind of come clean to the desk, and
our schedules were complementary. Because I've tried to do things in the past, and maybe I was more committed or less committed, it depended. We were on the same page, and we had the same time available. We didn't have you were working full time.
I was working kind of 9 to 5, but I was able to be flexible. And
and I was freelance, and I didn't have my kids at home anymore, so that freed up a lot of time. This became a priority for me.
This became your new baby.
It was
child.
And I also have an adult daughter, and so again, I suppose we are both women at that point where our kids had grown up, and it was sort of us time,
and ready to commit to it too. That's another thing. Just try something new. Don't worry about where it's going. We were at some point involved with some people who wanted to modify things so it would be Netflix worthy. And we made a decision. We're not doing that. Maybe, that would be great, but let's just make something good that we put our stamp of approval on. Let's be the approval ourselves. And not worry about dominating the world. Just make a small thing. Why not make a small thing?
Exactly. I love that. Why not make a small thing? Because I think we also get caught up in that when we write books or make art or any kind of creative passion. It's like, oh, how am I going to make money, or how can I make myself famous? And when you create just for the fact of entertainment and stick to what was true to you, I think that says a lot about what you've made.
And honor the artist and honor the art. And that's what one of the themes is. It's, there's the setting of Ireland. There's this, the Irish American coming into the scene. There's all the different artists and their personalities and their egos that are fun, and the bad guy, and the commercialization of the arts, and cloning, and just everything but the kitchen sink. But it really goes back to creation and artistic creation. And I think it's important, and that was like a recent understanding that to understand that you've got your creativity, and then you've got the commercialization of your activity. That's two different things, and don't mix them up. I think it's important.
Is that what was the message that you wanted people to walk away with after listening to the show? Was there something you wanted people to think more about, to raise awareness about from listening to your show?
We just wanted people to laugh.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah. And we wanted them to enter into the world that we've created that is so real to us.
Yeah.
And the characters come and talk to us at night. And we laughed so much, you know what I mean? We laughed so much, and I just hope that people get a laugh out of it. And that's what the feedback we're getting back. People are just saying, I know that kind of person. That really made me laugh. And everything is up for fun and poking fun. Poke fun at everything.
Right.
Right.
Because the Americans that I spoke with are saying, oh no, I hope that's not what Americans are like to others. I'm like, yes, kind of.
Maybe. I mean, stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. But that brings me to my next question. I mean, you guys are sensitive to questions about heritage. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, because you're talking about French people and Americans and Irish and Northern Ireland and England. So talk a little bit about how you address that.
It was tricky, I would say.
It was tricky. We had to, there was one stage where there's a Russian dissident artist in the called Olov Smirnov.
The famous Russian dissident artist.
But originally it was a Chinese artist, because we kind of based on a sort of a wee wife figure. So we had a Chinese dissident artist as a main character, and we auditioned some Chinese actors, and they were all actually quite fearful of playing a part that criticized the Chinese government, even though it was a comedy.
Oh, wow.
So we decided that it wouldn't be appropriate for us to do that. So we changed the artist to a Russian dissident artist. And even though it was Irish and English actors who played most of the parts, we were always aware of sensitivities around heritage, around sexuality, around how people identified and different things, so that there wasn't any hurtful stereotypes.
Right. That was important.
Yeah. And but we entered into huge conversation, though, about what it was to be Irish and brought up in Ireland, what it was to be Irish American. And that's what we hope to bring to our next project, sort of an exploration of that identity. Because we got asked then to speak at a heritage conference.
Which was a huge surprise.
And I actually emailed them back and said, sorry, I think you sent me this email by mistake.
It was like an academic conference on genealogy and heritage. Wow. And I could barely understand what they were talking about.
Yeah. So I said, where are you coming from, inviting us? And they said, oh, it's your podcast. It really deals with a lot of stuff like genealogy and heritage. So I said to them, can we do a performance instead of give a talk?
Because there's supposed to be a keynote or something.
So we are keynote speaker in the University of Galway next June, but we're doing a performance.
Do you think they can give me an honourary doctorate?
You should definitely ask.
In lieu of being paid. So yeah, I think that we're just finishing season 2 now. It's nearly there.
Is it?
Yeah. And
that's what we're here to do, actually.
And then we're going to think about what we're going to do for the Heritage Conference, which is a year away. But we have kind of bounced around a lot of ideas about just exploring what it means to be Irish. And, also maybe doing more live performances, because we really enjoyed those.
We'd love to do something in Paris.
Yeah, definitely. I think you need to bring more of it to the community here. And people are always looking for new things like this. And I think every American is like, oh yeah, I'm part Irish. So I think that would resonate with everybody, because every time you meet an American, they're like, oh yeah, I'm an Irish descendant. Everyone's got a little bit of Irish
so
in them.
true. It's so true. And proud of it, right? There's this idea there's something a little bit magical about being Irish.
Yes, definitely. And talk a little bit about how you guys write comedy. I mean, how do you decide what's funny? How do you know other people are going to find it funny? Do you test it on? I mean, you said you did a live one. Like, how sure were you that people were going to laugh at this stuff?
Not sure.
Not sure at all.
I was about the scene with the opera scene.
Oh,
so my character is kind of grating. She's this very unaware, spoiled person who, just thinks that Ireland's going to applaud because she came to visit.
Yeah.
And so in the live performance, we set up this idea that we would put little presents underneath the seats of all the audience, and then the Irish character, the Irish American character, was going to come out and talk to them, and she talks down to them and says, like, you guys are doing a great job, and I think that you just keep up your good job. You guys are going to get there one day.
You'll be like me if you're lucky.
Right. You're doing a great job, Ireland. Don't worry, one day you'll be rich too. Kind of thing. But I when I realized I had to actually do that in front of, as a character, but in front of real people who are not necessarily hopefully they understand, they had humor.
Yeah.
They did laugh.
They did laugh, but I remember feeling so hot on my cheeks were burning. I'm like, oh God, I hope somebody doesn't throw an egg at me or, a Guinness. And I gave them a present underneath their chairs. It was little seeds with little flower seeds with stickers saying, keep, I forget what it was like.
I think it was stickers with stars and stripes, and it said, you can do better, Ireland.
Yeah.
And we had forgotten completely about it. And then I was out in a friend who had been to it for dinner, and her son came in who hadn't been to it, and he said, oh, I have your stickers. And I was like, what? He said, they're so funny, they're brilliant. And I had forgotten. I said, what? And he was like, you can do better, Ireland. And he, and he's 20, so we are making somebody laugh,
It's kind of self filtering, right? The people who laugh listen, and the people who don't get it or don't, it's not for every. I say that even to my friends. It's not for everyone.
Yes. Obviously, nothing will be for everyone. And at the end of the day, you guys had a great time making it and provided work to struggling actors during a hard time. So even if that was the only thing that came out of it, that's a lot.
Yeah. We it's given us a, something to keep us off the streets.
And how would you both define creativity in your own words?
I think it's nearly like a download or something. It's like you open yourself up and just stuff comes in that there's usually some genesis to it, so I think there's reality in everything that you create, like a pastiche of a person or something. But I think that it's like, this little world, you kind of get to live in it part time, like a cloud. It's like there's a cloud and you're looking up, and you can kind of get into the cloud for a while.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to those things that kind of niggle you, like in there's I just keep on thinking about that bike that I saw today. What is that? That has no importance, in theory, like has no importance. This little bike that I went by today, it's just, just keep on thinking about it, and the spokes and the sparkly and things. And I don't know if one day that's going to land into a drawing or a piece of artwork in some way, or maybe it'll disappear. But that thing is it's like it's hanging in my in my imagination, and then sometimes another element might come into play, and there's sparks fly. And I think it's important when you want to be a creative person, to allow those things to just take some real estate in your brain and just wait for the time to come that they have a place and a purpose, and just paying attention to those things that you notice, being aware of what you're noticing and just taking note and trusting that there'll be a place for them, and not to be scared again. I think fear is a big, I think, factor about being a creative person, is not being afraid to play. You have to play.
And not think too much about the end product, you know, like get into the flow, and also take a little step back from stuff and like observe it rather than taking things for granted. So I was actually in a show recently in Dublin, and the director said, I said something, and she said, you know, you don't seem fully involved. And I said, I think that's just because I'm a writer. I always take a little step back from things and kind of observe stuff that's going on. So I had to remember when I was acting that you can't do that. But, you know, a notebook is always handy. I think if something, like Andi said, just sticks in your mind, or something even from the past that you remember, a little detail of something, like it's like little photographs or something, and then you write them down, and then they develop themselves. It's like they develop slowly over time, like a dark room in your head.
It's like seeing a face in a cloud, right? That it's there, so you can use it. Just
you can't know where it's going to go. And I think a lot of times, especially in today's society where we have access to knowing so much all the time, it's kind of hard to just follow those little, you know, tidbits of what does this even mean? You know, why am I thinking about this? You know, like, and just not brush it off. So I think that's great advice to, you know, just kind of follow it, write it down, find someone to collaborate with. And what do you ladies?
You don't have to know the end game before you start.
Exactly. You don't need, and I think a lot of us want that, where we have no patience, and it's nice to hear that, you know, just to let it simmer, let it hang out, and just stick with it. And what do you ladies think is the role of art in today's society? Like, why are the arts important with what's going on in the world today?
I think art is everything, really. You know, everything you look at started off as a drawing or a design, or you know, TV programs, books, pictures. Like, I'm sitting in this room now and there's nothing in the room, in this beautiful, we're in a writer's residence in Northern Ireland called the River Mill. Amazing place if anyone ever wants to come on a residency to Ireland. Hosted by the fabulous Bermudan poet Paul Modern. And I think art is everything.
Yeah, that's true. Can you imagine what
living for?
Yeah, what would it be? What would this? We're in a little room right now. I can't imagine if art wasn't here, that we wouldn't have this beautifully crafted desk, a beautiful design of a simple kind of Pixar style light that you know, somebody came up with. It's like whimsical. We're in front of a bird painting that sort of has a nice place on the wall, and the others we've been an empty wall. I guess probably mattresses. Maybe mattresses isn't so artistic. What do you think?
Like you know, it's a brass bed,
right, with curly cues.
So basically. So the arts are all around us. They're unavoidable, is what you're saying. That's the important, because it's everywhere.
Right. And it puts little accents. It gives us moods. We enter new spaces. It puts us in a, you know, a good mood, bad mood.
Yeah.
Or it helps us process things, I think, as well. And sometimes it seems to be able to predict things. If you think of 1984 or the world, you know, a lot of stuff that has been written about has come true. Some hasn't, obviously. I think to escape from
or anger. You can even place your anger. I like to do that.
Me too.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a way to express when you feel powerless.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly it, Crystal. Yeah, that's right.
And what is next for you guys? We're working on the retreat number 2. When is it going to be out? What are you guys excited about for the future?
Well, we're at the arts retreat this week to finish up season 2. We're almost there. Then we will record it. We'll rehearse and put that out. I would say in the next couple of months. We don't have an exact date. And then we have the keynote coming up in June. And I paint, and I just finished up an exhibition. You just did your show.
Yeah, and I have a book of short stories coming out. I'm working on a play with turning a short story into play. I am always working on new short stories, and I'm researching a new novel as well that's set in Bronze Age Ireland, which is something new for me. So always stuff on the go.
Yeah.
Yes, and it all connects and intersects.
That's true. Yeah. In fact, the podcast with the sound effects, I was surprised. I'm a trained illustrator and I went to school for that and everything. I was surprised how much sound effects and illustration relate to each other. When you have a text and you put an illustration, it's to support the text, and same thing with sound effects. So I've become really interested in sound effects. I'd like to work more on those, and I've been writing a graphic novel forever. And maybe that, as I've been writing it lately, I've been thinking about adapting it also to audio, but that's a big project. But it is on that that's one of those little things that's dangling in my mind.
Yes, but it's nibbling at you, and I love that you're working on so many things simultaneously. Like you guys are out there, you're living it, you're enjoying it, and where can people connect with you online and see your work for both of you? Let's hear from both of you.
Well, we have our main website is retreatcomedy.com. We're on Twitter at Comedy Retreat. We're on Instagram at Retreat Comedy. We're on Facebook, Retreat Comedy.
YouTube, Retreat Comedy.
And
but I think the audio, I would send people to either our website or on to the podcast to listen to the podcast. Retreat Comedy. It's 6 episodes, 20 minutes, about 20 minutes per episode, and that's season 1, so it's about a 2-hour show altogether, and you can bite-sized 20-minute listens
to laugh on
and
your
if you
commute.
On Instagram or any of those, we have links back to our own individual
that's right.
handles. And you can, I'm at Aoibheann, Aoibheann, and you're at
on what?
Instagram.
On Instagram. Andi _ Ipaktchi. Good luck spelling that.
We'll share all of that in the show notes, guys, so you can just click away. Much easier. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for chatting with me today, and I can't wait to listen to the next season of Retreat 2. You have to keep us updated for when it's out, and we will share all your notes in the show notes so you guys can connect with them online, and I can't wait to see what you guys will create next.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. This is a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.